Yeah. Why can't I hear myself? Uh, uh, uh. Me no understand. Me no understand. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Why can't I hear myself? There we go. Me no understand. Me no understand. Yeah. All right. Which episode do we want? Fort Myers, Florida, Part 2. Florida's always good. Florida's good for some fucking... Oh, god damn it. I'll tell you, I don't know why, but this is the funniest fucking show ever. And I think the reason is because Chris Hansen and his quips. Yeah, on TC, Chris Hansen, yeah.
I'm Chris Hansen.
I'm Chris Hansen.
Please set it down!
What are you doing here today?
You show up with beer, you show up with condoms.
You showed up with
You're
I've got the
naked,
chat
there's
log.
a 14-year-old girl, you're chasing a cat around, you've got Cool Whip. He's in the kitchen coming towards your living room. The issue here is not gay or straight. The issue here is adult child.
The one that bothered me the most was the guy that showed up with rope and duct tape.
You are every parent's worst nightmare.
Suspected predators caught on tape.
Oh, we need
one
those
is caught
quips.
going way too far. Tonight on To Catch a Predator.
He was gonna bang the cat.
They're online and on the prowl, grown men targeting children on the internet. Good evening and welcome to Dateline. I'm Stone Phillips.
And I'm Ann Curry. This month, millions of people have been watching our investigations into computer sex predators, among them some of the suspected predators themselves. And what's most surprising, even knowing that they may be walking into a sting is not enough to keep some of them away.
Tonight we're back in Florida, where we started our investigation last week. And now there are new suspects and new dangers.
What are you doing?
Again, we want to remind you that some of what you'll see is explicit. Here's Chris Hansen.
Here's Chris Hansen.
You seem like law enforcement. I happen to know law enforcement.
You do. So you're an expert in this area.
No, I'm just saying, you come off as law enforcement.
Really? You know how you come off? Somebody who's very nervous. Somebody who came over here to have sex with a 14-year-old girl.
14-year-old?
Like all our previous investigations, the potential predators here in Fort Myers, Florida, are keeping us busy.
Is this some kind of setup or something?
While some are surprisingly candid,
they arrested me for possessing child pornography because I had nude pictures of her on my computer. They ended up dropping the charges.
Others tell us stories we've heard before.
Just come over to say hi. That was it.
And one man does something so brazen, you have to see it to believe it.
You want to explain yourself?
But they all have something in common. Every one of them chatted online about having sex with a person posing as a young teen, made a date to meet, and then showed up at our undercover house.
A number of these individuals traveled quite a ways.
Hilton Daniels is the chief of police in Fort Myers.
I believe the furthest one drove 223 miles to Fort Myers to have sex with a child.
Chief Daniels says it's frightening to think what would have happened if there really had been a child home alone.
Anything could have happened in that house.
Anything.
The person would have cleaned up and drove away, and as law enforcement agencies, we would never have known who that person was.
That dude sounds like he's
But fortunately, there are no real children in the house.
What is this guy?
Instead, there are decoys, members of an online watchdog group called Perverted Justice. Dateline hired them as consultants to do what they normally do, set up profiles of 12 to 15-year-olds, and in this case, go into Florida chat rooms and wait to be contacted by a grown-up. Once an adult starts messaging, a decoy will often pretend to be home alone and willing to have sex.
He has a case of perhaps Bud Light or something.
Over the course of 3 days, men come knocking on our door.
Sponsored.
And our 13 hidden cameras record their every move. From the minute they turn onto our street until they walk into our living room, cameras are rolling. but the potential predators have no idea.
Child sex
There he goes.
predators.
He heard you. He's coming. He's coming fast.
This man shows up to a house he's never been to
coming
before
fast.
to keep a date with a girl he's never met. He walks into the backyard and knocks on the wrong door. No one answers, so he makes a call. No one answers the phone either. Finally, he hears our decoy and heads inside.
Hey, I just had to change my shirt real quick, but just come in and watch some TV. I'll be right there.
Where you at?
I'm just gonna change my shirt real quick.
Like when?
Although Perverted Justice members are actually the decoys who conduct the chats online, we hired this actress to pretend to be the girl alone in our house. She looks the part of a minor, but she's really 19.
But she's really 19.
I need some cookies. I just have to change real quick.
The man who's come into our house is 23-year-old Raul Antonio Brenes, screen name Antonio69929, an assembly worker. He met a girl posing as a 14-year-old online and asks her if she's ever had anal sex. She says
You
no,
ever done
and
anal
then he
before?
types, "Would you ever do it?" He also asks her,
"How many rounds can you last?
I don't know.
Would you be able to have sex and take a break until you get tired, or could it be an all-night thing?
I guess we'll see.
I just want to make sure you can handle me."
To keep his date, he actually got on a bus and rode across the state of
voice
Florida.
acting in this
Instead of
fucking-
finding a
oh,
minor
man.
alone, he meets me.
He meets me.
Why don't you have a
Chris
seat right over there,
Hansen.
please?
Yeah, why don't you have a seat right over there?
Online, he
please?
told the
Yeah.
girl he'd bring alcohol and spend
told
the
her he'd
night.
bring her
And
alcohol.
look, he's brought beer and an
Bud Light.
How was your bus ride?
How was your bus
Good.
ride?
How long were you on the bus?
We were on the
Wow, sir.
How many hours about?
About 4.
And what else did Antonio 69929 bring with him?
Shopping it up.
Did you bring condoms with you?
It's in my bag. I always bring it with me.
You always bring condoms.
You always bring condoms.
You show up with beer. You show
I
up with
never
condoms,
have condoms
after
on
a
me.
sexually charged online
I also
conversation
don't ever use condoms.
at a home where you believe a 14-year-old girl is alone for the weekend. You say, "Are you sure you can handle
According
it?"
to this show, though,
You
if
ask
you
her if she's
keep condoms
cool
on you, you
about having
might
sex with
be
you.
a sex offender.
I'm guilty of whatever is there, sir.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, I'm guilty of whatever is there.
And what could he be guilty of in the state of Florida?
guy's just
Using the
gonna
internet
give
to
up?
attempt to solicit a minor for sex. A
Not
felony.
even going to make any
Not appropriate at all,
excuses.
sir.
Why did you do it?
Just me being dumb.
Being dumb.
What do you think should
Being
happen to you, Antonio?
stupid.
I think I should get a death penalty, sir. What's what?
Well, he won't be getting the death penalty, but he'll find out shortly he does have a date before a judge.
I'm printing out right now everything.
Perverted Justice has been sending the sexually explicit
Harsh,
online
bro,
chat
especially 'cause
logs
that would
between
apply
its
to himself.
decoys and the potential predators to the Fort Myers Police Department
Fort
and
Myers
state
Police
prosecutors.
Department,
They're
yeah.
staked out in the guest house behind
staked
our
out in the
house.
guest house.
In the case of Antonio 69929, there's
Antonio
enough evidence
69.
for an arrest.
I'm Chris
Yeah,
Hansen.
I'm
with
Chris
Dateline
Hansen.
NBC, and we're doing a story on adults who try to meet children on the internet.
We're doing a
So
story.
after I tell him he's going to be on Dateline,
So you're free to leave.
You're free to leave.
he gets arrested
He gets arrested, yeah.
and taken away in an unmarked police car. Then he's brought to this transfer station where he's searched.
You have any ID on you?
Show is so funny.
He's taken to
All
jail.
right, sound levels are good.
The next morning, he appears before a judge, and bail is set.
There is probable cause as to all charges. There'll be a $40,000 bond deposit.
His story is only one in a long line of potential predators
When
who
I got my
come
felony
knocking on our
drug charges,
door.
my bail was
7:30 's here. He's coming in.
$50,000. How do you
And
get?
as you'll see, some seem prepared to do things that police find quite disturbing.
The one that bothered me the most was the guy that showed up with rope and duct tape in his vehicle.
I don't think. You know what?
When we return,
I don't
you'll
think it
meet
bothered
that
that
man.
cop. I
What
think
was
that
he
cop was
really
like,
planning?
"Well, let your
You
heads
talk
up,
about
bro."
using the rope in various sex acts with this
Very
15-year-old
second
girl.
with this 15-year-old girl. Wow, Chris
And
Hansen.
later, no shirt, no pants, and nowhere to hide from our hidden cameras.
Marvin, you're naked.
Why don't they
Predator
do that on
continues
all
in
the
a
fucking the dudes that come over, all the predators? They should try to get all the dudes butt naked. Actually, you know what?
He went down to the triangle at Avocado and made a right, so he's either circling
That could
back
be a
down
fucking
Escalon,
show.
coming up Riverside.
Maybe not
On
sex
the first day
predators,
alone,
but just like
10
on
men
Tinder.
show up at our
and just
undercover
see how
house
much
in Fort
I would
Myers,
do that
Florida,
kind
where
of. Some
supposedly a
fucking
young teen is
legal age
home
girl
by
on
herself
Tinder was like,
and
"Hey,
ready to have sex.
come to my house and just get naked in the
Copy that.
living room."
Wave him up.
Probably do
Get him in.
This is Brian Gosselin, screen name Bay Jones.
Brian Gosselin.
Come on in, the door's open.
He's here to meet a girl who said online she was 15.
Said she was 15.
Lied to her about his age, claiming to be 24.
He's
really
really
32.
He's really
And based on what he
32.
had to say online, want to blank my brains out.
Want to blank
it's not
my
hard
brains
to guess
out?
why he's here.
I got some wine coolers.
Wine coolers are just fine.
Hey, you weren't kidding when you said a big house.
I know, the house is beautiful. I love my house.
Yeah. Are you the only child?
Yeah.
Fucking
Oh, did you
Eminem here.
did you bring protection?
Yeah.
Perfect.
The only bad news about that is you're probably not going to need that type of protection tonight.
See, I knew this was going to be a setup.
You did?
Yeah.
How did you know that?
I like how Chris
Just 'cause the way
Hansen
she was
just
talking
fucking
online.
walks
Brian,
in
what's
like,
your
I'm time for some
have a last name.
quips.
You don't have a last name.
You don't have a last name.
And that's about all he's willing to say.
Well, unfortunately, that's not the
No,
kind of
no, no, I'm not
protection
finished asking
you're going to be
questions yet.
needing.
Sir?
Sir?
7:30's here.
But most men who show up at our house
Where's the police
are willing to talk.
tackle?
He is
Fuck.
on the steps.
Gypped
Open
me out,
the door.
Joe.
Like this man, 30-year-old Kenneth Fortin.
Watch it, he's coming fast. He's in the kitchen, call out.
Coming
Hey,
fast.
I'm in here.
He's been chatting online
Crazy.
with a
Come on,
decoy
guys.
posing as a 15-year-old. He
Oh,
describes
Chris
detailed
Hansen.
plans for their
Why don't you
sexual
take a
rendezvous.
seat right here?
He says he likes to
Southpaw?
start with oral sex. After that, he asks her what position she'd like to try first. And he also asks if he can do more.
Can I tie you up?
Holy shit.
Yeah, I work construction, so I have all kinds of stuff. But if you like rope, I'll bring rope.
Why can't these
So did he
pedophiles
actually
spell?
bring rope?
Hey, I'm about to put on my bra and panties. Come on in.
Keep going, he's coming fast.
Rob, go ahead. How you doing? Should you have a seat over in that chair, please?
He says he's here to meet a
coming,
girl,
he's
but he
coming
can't remember
fast.
her name. And he's a little vague about her age.
Rather young.
Rather young.
Rather young.
As in
15 or 16.
15. And how old are you?
30.
And
Come on, where's some quips?
It's okay for a 30-year-old man to come to a home where a 15-year-old girl is alone. Why?
Wow.
No, it's not okay.
During their online chat, they talked
During
about
their
condoms.
online
He
chat.
also said he'd bring marijuana.
Did you bring condoms with you?
No.
Not in your car?
No.
Did you bring marijuana?
No.
Are you sure?
But is he telling the truth? We'll find out later.
We'll
when
find
police
out
search his
later.
car. But now he does admit to bringing one thing.
Did you bring rope with you tonight?
I have rope in my car.
You have rope in your car.
Yes, for my job.
You talk about
my job,
using the
dude.
rope in various sex acts with this 15-year-old girl. What would have happened if a 15-year-old girl was here and I wasn't?
Same thing that's happening now, just talking.
Do you see why that's very difficult for me to believe, based on this chat?
I'm
Yes,
saying
I
the
do.
chat logs.
That's the God's honest truth, though.
But why should I believe
That's the
that?
God
Because I have a
honest
6-year-old
truth,
daughter
Chris
that I'm trying to
Hansen.
see.
You have a 6-year-old daughter.
Yeah,
How
a
would you
6-year-old
feel
daughter,
if a
bro.
stranger
People with
came
6-year-old
into
daughters
your
aren't
home?
sex offenders?
hate it.
Fucking
So why
idiot.
then is it okay for you to come into this home where you thought a girl was alone?
Every time they say come, I want to giggle.
There seems to be a lot of bad judgment in the air.
So he's making the turn. He's nervous. He's about to call out, call out.
Seems to be a lot of bad judgment in
You
the
heard, put the soap on. Awesome. Back door,
Marijuana
he's
wasn't
opening
the
door.
only thing he
He's in the
wanted
laundry
to
room.
get inside of him.
Here comes 22-year-old Elias Balon, screen name Daytona 02, a small business owner. He's been chatting online with a
Fucking
girl
entrepreneur,
posing
dude.
as a 14-year-old named Lainey. She asks him if he'll bring her vodka and let her drive his car. He says, whatever you want, sweetie. And when Lainey tells him her bedroom is hot,
Wait,
he types,
what?
You hot, mommy? Let's make
He
love.
was going to get this
He drove
14-year-old
2.5
girl drunk and let her
hours to
drive
get
his
here.
car?
It's just before
What
1
a
o'clock
fucking
in the
idiot.
morning.
Just sit down and watch TV for a little bit. I'll be right out.
Where are you?
Oh, I'm just changing my shirt real quick because I got chocolate on it. Just take a seat. I'll be right there.
What's he got in his hand? What's he got?
I
A
made you some
sword?
cookies. Did you bring me my drinks?
Can you come out?
Yeah, I'll be right there. I just gotta change.
I made you some
Would you
cookies.
do me a favor and come on in? Will you bring your stuff in?
It
Come on
looks
in.
as if Daytona 02 has come bearing
Did he
gifts.
bring a rose?
What have we got here?
A rose.
A rose? What about condoms? Did you bring
Did
condoms?
you bring condoms?
Yes, sir.
You did. Why don't you put those on the table?
No, I said I carried them.
So you brought a rose, alcohol, and some condoms.
Damn, he
What
didn't
does that
even
add
get
up
like a
to?
whole fucking bottle. Just like
Then
a,
he reveals something we
just a
didn't know.
half-drink bottle.
I knew if something would happen like this, I would get in trouble because I'm married.
You're married.
Yes, sir.
That's not what you said in the chat.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. No, but I'm married.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna bang her. I'm married.
But
dude.
I really love her. The thing is that they think that we don't get along sometimes.
Now, what do you think she would say if she
Me and
knew
my
that
wife
you were
fight,
coming here
bro.
to have sex with a 14-year-old girl?
She'll kill me.
Go hang out with this 14-year-old girl, dog.
I don't think about it. She'll kill me. Listen, I'll get a divorce. Her dad has 10 brothers.
10 brothers.
They will kill me.
So I'll be looking for you.
Daytona 02 says he knew he was taking a big risk and worried this might be a setup.
You say this might be a trap. I've seen that on TV. What did you see on TV exactly?
Well, in the news actually, because the people get like arrested because of chatting like with underage girls.
Right. So you saw it on Dateline NBC?
Yeah, news, just news.
Yeah.
Dad, do you know who I am? Chris Hansen.
That was gonna happen.
Would you like an autograph?
He still doesn't appear to know he's landed in the middle of a Dateline investigation, but he'll find out a little later.
He'll find out a little later. Ooh, look at the tits on this one.
It's Lee Greer. It's Lee Greer.
It's Lee Greer, 74, our 1 o'clock.
Now, here comes another married man. He's 31-year-old Lee Greer, screen name Lee Greer 74. He's away from home on business, and he's been chatting online with a 13-year-old. At least that's what the decoy told him. He sends her a picture of his penis and then types, "You will get to see the real thing, you know, in person."
He's on the back door, his porch, opening the door. He's supposed to be bringing lunch and booze.
Hey, come on in.
Often, perverted justice decoys will ask a man to bring something specific, like food or alcohol.
Ask if he brought the lunch and booze.
Did you bring the food?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Law enforcement says it helps show intent because a potential predator is bringing items that he talked about online in the same conversation
Fucking
he's
bottom
talking
of the
about
bottle of
sex.
fucking
What did you
Bacardi.
bring?
Double cheeseburgers with no pickles.
Awesome. I made chocolate chip cookies too, but I actually just got some on my shirt, so I'm just gonna change my shirt real quick.
All right, I got some fries, but the fries might be cold. It took me a little while to find this place.
You can just take a seat. I'll be right there.
Okay.
So no cookies for you?
So no cookies. Chris Hansen.
What's going on?
Not much.
What's going on?
Who are you?
Lee.
And Lee, what are you doing here?
What are you doing here?
Come to visit a friend off the net, I thought.
At first, he tells me the friend he came to see was 18 or older, but then changes his story.
18 or older,
So
bro.
why don't you start over again and tell me how old did she say she was? in
Why
the
don't you just
conversation?
confess?
13.
How old are you?
13.
Too old.
Too old.
31.
31.
Yes, sir.
But I got burgers and no
And
pickles.
you thought it was okay for a 31-year-old man to come
Where's
to a
the fucking
home
quips,
where
Chris?
a 13-year-old girl was alone because why exactly?
I didn't.
Then why did you do it?
Stupidity.
Stupidity.
Stupid. Yeah, I was just being
I
dumb.
was,
Sometimes I'm just dumb. I just
stupidity.
forget you ain't supposed
You
to
sent her
bang
that picture.
13-year-olds.
yes, right. And I told
Silly
her
old
those
me.
pictures, and she wanted to see them, so I showed them.
Yeah.
Because a 13-year-old girl says it's okay for you to do it.
No, it's not, sir. No, sir.
Yeah, don't
Are you
fucking
married?
Yes,
victim
sir.
blame,
How's
dick.
this going to go over at home?
Not good.
Not good.
I had really.
Well, the
Like
good
her
news
not
is
to.
he's going to be going to
Really,
jail.
sir.
Oh, Chris
What do you think
Hansen.
should happen to you, Lee?
Honestly,
Should probably
I'd like
go.
to be able to just go back to work. And
Just go
forget.
back to work.
Yeah.
Walk, get up and
Yeah.
grab a
I'm not,
cookie
I'm
and
not
walk
saying
on out of
that.
here.
I'm not
I
saying
mean, I
what
didn't even
what I've
bang the
done is right, 'cause I
13-year-old.
know it's wrong. I'm admitting to you that it is wrong.
So we're all
I'm just
square,
going
even Steven,
home.
and you should
No,
just get up
no,
and walk
Good,
out.
or even Steven.
I don't know.
Why don't you show me your dick, Chris Hansen, and we'll call it a day.
Well, there's a few things that you need to know.
As we told you before, he won't get off that easy.
Everything that you've done since you pulled up here has been
You
recorded
won't
on
get
camera.
off that easy.
Neither will the next potential predators you're about to meet.
Where are you?
Coming up, he's the father of 2 teenage children, but that didn't stop him from making a date with our decoy, posing as
That
another
one
teen.
wasn't as funny, but
What was your plan here with this 14-year-old boy?
I mean, we talked about sex and stuff like that, and then
Sure did.
just talk about BJs, bro.
When To Catch a Predator continues.
Just gonna fucking hang out. Fucking talk about blowjobs. Fucking totally normal, Chris Hansen.
During our undercover investigation here in Fort Myers, Florida, there's been a steady stream of potential predators arriving to keep their dates with someone who told them they were a young teen.
There we go. Now we're back.
10 men the first day and 11 men on the second day. And there's still one more day to go.
Approaching the back door. He's coming through.
Some come looking not for girls, but for boys. Meet 23-year-old Ryan McIntyre, screen name QX4Boy 19. He owns a high-end dog boutique. He's here to meet a boy who told him online he was 14. The decoy says, "You won't tell anyone I'm gay, will you?" And QX4Boy 19 replies, "If you don't tell anybody, you blanked my blank." Dell from Perverted Justice, playing the male decoy, invites him in and scoots behind the door before he sees her.
We'll watch TV or something. I'll be right back out, all right?
All right. Why don't you make yourself at home here?
Why don't you take a seat? Chris Hansen.
What's going on?
Not much, how are you?
Like many other men caught in our investigations, QX4Boy 19 insists he didn't come here for sex with a young teen.
Never.
I was just going over to hang out, and I felt like I'd be more big brother more than anything. I do
Big brother.
Big brother.
So you're coming over to be a mentor?
In a way, yes. And I'm sure you've heard that 20 billion times.
20 billion and one, counting to 9.
I had no intention of having sex with him tonight.
20 billion and one, counting to 9.
But his chat log doesn't make it sound like he was just here to hang out.
Because boy, does Hansen got the quips. Talk about penis size.
You say you're horny. You say you're masturbating while you're talking to him.
Boys will be boys, dog. Locker room talk. Chris Hansen.
You my
I said that?
And then you say, I don't want to go to jail. Do you recall that conversation?
I'm sorry I didn't say that.
I mean, the issue here is not gay or straight.
No.
The issue here is adult child. In the mentoring conversation that you're saying to me that you were going to have tonight with the 14-year-old, that's not what
I didn't feel like necessarily have that conversation. So I was going to just come out and hang out and see what he's like.
QX4Boy 19 sits and talks to me for more than 10 minutes. Then amazingly, when I start to tell him who I am,
well, I got to tell you,
he already knows.
Dateline NBC. I know. And you know.
Oh,
have you seen the previous stories? You have.
And as you'll hear later, the possibility of walking into a Dateline investigation wasn't enough to stop him.
Oh.
Here comes another man who's seen our previous broadcasts.
He's in the laundry room.
Thank you.
He's in the kitchen, coming towards the living room.
Usually off the towel.
His name is Dallas Lee. He's been chatting online in an AOL gay chat room with a boy posing as a 14-year-old. It takes him less than 7 minutes to ask the boy if he wants oral sex. The decoy says, okay, cool. And a few hours later, he's walking into our living room.
I'm finishing up right. Hang out till
I'm finishing up. I'm finishing right now.
So you're pumped too, huh?
So you're pumped too, huh?
So what were you so pumped for?
What were you so
No, not too much.
You have a seat right on the
why don't you have a seat? Yeah. Why do they separate the gay predators into their own little sect? Like, why wouldn't they just mix it in?
Tony.
Yeah.
I guess it was.
And how old is Tony?
This is older.
14.
They meet on
What
MySpace
was your
and
plan
stuff.
here?
So you know it's old school.
With this 14-year-old boy.
What was your
I
plan?
mean, we talked about sex and stuff like that. And then
Sure did.
Sex
Yeah.
and stuff.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. I got 2 kids of my own. We can hang out and stuff.
And how old are your kids?
We can hang
My
out.
son is 19 and my daughter's 15.
So
I
your
got
daughter
kids
is
and I don't
1 year
fuck
older
them.
than the boy you were coming to visit tonight.
Why would you think I'm gonna bang this dude?
Now, how would you feel if your
How would you
daughter,
feel?
at the age of
If your
15,
daughter-
was home alone,
Home
and
alone.
a man came to visit her?
Man.
Honestly, terrible.
Yeah.
You know,
And so why is it okay for you?
it's not. You're
come
absolutely
here.
right. Honestly, it's not. You know, but I was not even set the sex aside.
He says he knows it looks bad,
the sex
but he
aside,
really wanted
Chris
to be a
Hansen.
father figure to the boy who told him he
I
didn't
was
have
gonna
a dad.
bang the boy,
But
Chris
if that's
Hansen, but I was
so,
gonna be a-
why did he
I was
tell
gonna
the
be
boy he was
fatherless
20
about
years
it.
old when
Like
he's
how I used
really
to bang
40?
my son.
If you're trying to be a
lie?
father figure to this kid, as you have suggested to me you were
Right.
trying to do, why would you tell him you were 20 and much closer to his age?
Right? That's a mistake.
What was your
Somebody
dad
would
like,
do
Chris
that.
Hansen?
In fact, they
See,
wanted the
that's-
target
Did not lie about his
Exactly.
age and
they were
rape you?
younger and be comfortable to have
Check your
sex.
privilege, bro.
I understand. I understand what you're
Right?
coming from.
He also understands something else.
As you
Chris
sit here
Hansen.
today,
As you sit
based
here
on this
today.
chat, based upon your arrival here, you
Your
are
arrival
every parent's
here.
worst nightmare.
Exactly. I understand what you're saying. You're
Parents'
right.
worst
I guarantee
nightmare.
it's never going to happen again.
He's coming in, walking.
And there's still another man who comes to the house claiming he's really here to help.
Bottom step in
Oh, so
the
they
laundry
do
room.
just separate all the dudes that want to bang boys versus the dudes that want to bang girls into its own.
He's 61-year-old Thomas Campbell, J1H 3120. He's been chatting online with a decoy posing as a 14-year-old. He graphically describes how he likes to give oral sex to young men. The decoy asks, "Is that like your favorite to do?" And J1H 3120 says, "Yep." And from what most say, it's the best they've had.
No, where you at?
I'm right here. I just got to finish getting changed. Sorry, man. Didn't mean to confuse you.
Oh, where are you at?
Moving pretty quick there. Why don't you have a seat right over there?
Have a seat.
Okay.
Over
At the
there. Chris Hansen.
Where were you headed there?
Huh?
Where were you headed? Just
talk with him.
Just
Talking with the kid,
Tony?
man.
Online, he lists his age as being in his 40s. At first, he tells me he's only 49. Later, we learn the truth.
We learned the truth.
61. You're 61, so you're not in your 40s. Like no.
The man starts to have a bit of an asthma attack.
Damn, what if Chris Hansen just like asthma killed the dude
He
right
uses
here?
his inhaler and says he's fine.
uses his
Then he
inhaler.
tells me he had a tough time growing up gay and wanted to help the young boy he
Just wanted
expected
to
to
help
be
the
here.
boy.
To help him see that it's not really the shameful situation that it was when I was younger.
So you were
Just
here to
trying
mentor
help
this
them.
boy.
Just
If I
mentor.
could, yeah. If I could, you know, I don't mind helping.
And did that mentoring process
don't mind
include
helping.
having sex with him?
Oh, no.
But that's not how the
Well, I
conversation
mean, I was going to
went.
blow the dude, but
On the internet,
let's
is
help
it?
him.
I don't think so. I don't know.
You say, I love to a young man, deep and him.
Okay.
It's just
Do you
funny.
recall that?
Imagining
I believe so.
Chris
This
and
was
Well, I
Chris
have the whole
Hansen
transcript
with
here.
the
So
quips.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, and from what most say, it's the best they've had. The real
the best
compliment
they've
is when they keep coming back for more. You'd absolutely love it. I'm in my 40s, but guarantee that I'm not some old guy wanting to perv a young boy. Well, the reality is that you
Not
are
an old
older.
dude trying to perv some young
And what's
boy.
going on here seems pretty
I'm a much older
pervy,
dude
doesn't
trying
it?
to perv a young
It does.
boy.
A total
Chris
of
Hansen.
24 men show up at the house, are arrested,
Get on the
and
ground!
thrown in jail. But first, they'll find out they're going to be
Oh
on
shit,
national
I
television.
totally forgot about the cat
Coming up,
fucker.
excuse after excuse.
Never have I met anyone underage.
It's the
I will
first
swear on my
time.
mother's grave.
Well, it's your,
And arrest
she's already
after
dead.
arrest.
What does that even mean?
Please, this is a mistake.
I'll swear on my grandma's
Then
grave.
later,
that shit,
our
she's
undercover
dead. What's she
cameras
gonna
capture
do?
an image that's overexposed.
I swear that I am
You want to explain
Bruce
yourself?
Willis
When To Catch a
on
Predator
all of my
continues.
grandparents' graves. All four. Oh, Dateline. Why don't you take a
They're
seat
stalking
here?
the chat rooms, then knocking on the door. Welcome back to our latest investigation into computer sex predators. Tonight, we return to Fort Myers, Florida, where we've rented a home when equipped
First
with
they-
13 hidden cameras. Over the course of 3
First they
days,
be a
2
stalking,
dozen men
then
arrived
they
at the
come a
undercover
knocking.
house. Most all the men we met had an excuse and some explaining to do. Here again, Chris Hansen.
Chris Hansen.
Coming around.
The men walking through our door range in age from 20 to 61 and come from very different backgrounds. But most of them say almost the same thing when I confront them.
So this is the first time you've ever done something
First
like
time.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
This
yeah.
is my first time.
This is my
First
first one. She's the
time.
first person I ever considered meeting.
I never done this. Like,
that? You know, I hear that from virtually every person who has walked into this house.
Never have.
Never have I met anyone underage.
Now, not trying to
I will
side
swear
with the
on my mother's
pedos,
grave. Never.
but I
And
wonder
there's something
if
else I
it is
hear
true
over
for
and
some
over.
of them.
Did you
it's
bring
the first
condoms
time?
today?
I always carry
I always
condoms.
carry condoms.
Did you bring condoms with you?
Did you bring
Always keep
condoms?
condoms with me.
I have them, yeah. I always carry them.
I
I
always
just carry everywhere.
everywhere.
There's some in the car.
Just happened to be some in the glove box.
No, I always have condoms
Always have
anywhere I
condoms.
go. A person would have to be an idiot not to because of diseases.
While most are
Disease
willing to
is-
talk when they don't know they're being recorded on hidden camera,
Going off on a tangent
I'm Chris
about
Hansen
some-
with
Chris
Dateline
Hansen.
NBC, and we're doing a story about adults.
Oh, but I wonder if
Meeting
maybe
teens on the
some of these
internet.
dudes
and just
it is
like
their
this
first
man, a
time.
mental health
Anything else?
counselor
'Cause
for
it seems like the
teenagers,
decoys
when
are
the cameras come
definitely just
out,
like, oh, yeah, what
potential
up? It's back.
predators often scurry.
And I feel like
not gonna
actual
be on
teenagers
TV.
probably
You're obviously
aren't
free
like
to
that.
walk right out of the door that you came in.
I would like to walk out.
I'd like to
I
walk
just don't want my
out.
face to be seen.
And he's not the only one. Remember the married man who said his wife would kill him if she knew what he was up to?
Well, she
I'm
did.
Chris Hansen with Dateline NBC. If there's anything else you'd like to
Chris,
tell us,
you didn't recognize
we'd
her?
like to hear
Chris
it.
Hansen.
I just made a mistake.
Just being dumb, dude.
I won't do it again. For sure.
Pinky
And then there
promise.
were the men who had already seen some of our Dateline computer predator investigations.
I'm Chris Hansen with Dateline NBC. You know. Have you seen the previous stories?
Chris
You have.
Hansen got such a
And what
boner.
was your impression of the earlier stories?
Nothing, they were very good coverage.
Good coverage.
They were good coverage. I seen one previous maybe a month ago.
Okay. And that didn't make you think twice about coming over
He
here to
knew
meet a
who he
14-year-old?
was. Chris Hansen's like, let's just let this guy go.
It wasn't
He knew
coming
who
over
that
to have
was.
sex with him tonight. Or do anything with him. I was just
He
coming
said
to
he
talk to
wasn't
him.
gonna have
And
sex
because
with the
he's
kid.
seen a previous
was the
broadcast,
first time.
he remembers what happens next.
I'm walking out and they're going to cops the path there.
That's not up to me.
That's not,
No, yeah.
that's not up to me. It's not for me to decide. But I mean, yeah, that's gonna happen.
And just as he suspected, the police are waiting to arrest him.
But Chris Hansen, they're not asking you like if you're
Here's
ordering
another
them
man,
to get
Dallas Lee,
arrested. They're
who
just
saw
asking
one of
if
our
they're gonna
broadcasts
get
and
arrested.
still showed up.
And
He
I'm
came to
guessing
meet a
you
boy
do know the
posing
answer
as
to
a
that question.
14-year-old.
Yes.
You ever watch
You could just
Dateline
say
NBC?
yes, Chris Hansen. You
Sometimes,
could
yes,
just be
I've
like,
seen
yeah,
that.
they're gonna
You've
arrest
seen the
you,
computer
bro.
predator stories.
Yeah.
Well, this is one of them.
Lovely.
And there's more bad news for him when he gets outside. An officer wearing a type of camouflage to hide in the bushes jumps out and arrests him.
Police officer on the ground! On the ground!
What? I mean, like maybe
As
they
soon as the
need
men
the
leave
ghillie
our
suit
house,
guy
police work
for
quickly and sometimes
just
aggressively,
seems
taking
like a
the
bit
suspects down to the
overkill,
ground.
no?
That's because in Florida, it's relatively easy to get a
In
permit
Florida,
to carry
everybody
a concealed
has a
weapon.
gun.
So these
Yeah.
officers aren't taking any chances.
Anybody get hurt in the takedowns?
No, 24 people and no one was injured. All the officers
Just the
are
black
safe.
guys.
Let me see your hands.
Oh Lord!
As a
Few
man
of
is
them got
being
shot.
arrested,
Don't
an
know how that
unmarked
happened.
police vehicle moves into position.
Jeez, why you
The
got
suspect is put into a car and
that
taken
fat
to
guy's
a
not
transfer
running
station.
away? You're gonna go
This
fucking
is
up
the
on the
married
curb
man,
like that?
Lee Greer, who hoped his wife would
I mean,
never know
arrest the
he showed up
predators,
for a
but
date
you
with
don't
a
have to be a
girl who
dick
told
about
him
it.
she was
Fuck
13.
up people's yards,
How's this
man.
going to go over at home?
I'd really like for it not to go home.
Well, he was in luck because he'd be going to jail.
You're on vacation or something? No, I'm down here working.
His picture is taken.
Thank you.
And when the police search his rental car, they start collecting evidence.
They start collecting
Supposed to bring
evidence.
condoms, booze, and lunch. He's coming around back.
Oh, it's carried
And remember that
condoms, beers,
man,
and
Kenneth
lunch.
Fortin, who online
Remember
asked a
Kenneth
girl
Fortin?
claiming to be 15 if he could tie her up? Look what the police find in his car.
So there's rope? There's rope.
There's duct tape and extension cords.
He did admit to me that he
I mean,
had rope in his car, but he denied bringing anything else.
Did you bring condoms with you?
I guess the whole coming over and trying to tie up
No.
and bang a 14-year-old
Not
girl
your car?
part, but having duct tape
Did you bring marijuana?
and some rope in your car, that's not.
Are you sure?
There's nothing wrong with that.
Turns out he wasn't telling me the truth.
You think any narcotics on you, sir?
The police
Oh,
found the marijuana
shit!
No, but weed.
He's a
and a
fucking
box of
drug
condoms.
addict.
Get on the ground! Get on the ground!
All of the 24 men who were arrested outside our house were charged with felonies, attempted lewd and lascivious behavior with a minor, and attempting to solicit a child
Sex
over the
predators in a
internet.
state where it's easy to get a handgun.
They all went before a
Taser.
judge, and bail
Unarmed
was
black
set.
man.
There's probable cause on all the charges. There's a
Pistols.
$50,000 bond.
Many say they are innocent, but they will have to wait to be arraigned before they can plead not guilty,
just how the
including the
cops are, I
next man
guess.
you're about to meet. Online, he's very clear about what he wants to do with the underage girl. And
Oh,
what
shit,
he
this
does when
is
he
the
shows up will be hard for you to believe.
You want to explain yourself? Grab that towel right there, please. Wrap it around yourself, and please sit in that stool.
It was also hard for officers to believe.
It
that
was
strange
also
encounter
hard
is coming up next.
For
You're
officers
naked.
to believe.
There's a 14-year-old girl. You're chasing a cat around. You've got Cool Whip.
To Catch a Predator continues in a moment.
But our decoy's vagina wasn't the only pussy he was after tonight.
Oh, wait, pick up
Chris Hansen with quips.
Okay.
I'm Quip
I'll see you
Hansen.
soon then, okay?
A perverted justice decoy is playing the part of a 14-year-old named Cindy. She's talking to this man, Marvin Lachan, screen name Crazy Trini 85. They met in an online chat room. Cindy tells him she's a virgin. He sends her a picture of his genitals. Crazy Trini 85 asks her if she'll try anal sex and adds, it's better than regular sex. Then he asks her if she has a jacuzzi.
I'm a you in there. And on your mom's bed?
Why not my bed?
That too. I'm a you in every room, so no matter where you go, you'll remember me.
Next, he asks her if she has any pets. Cindy says she has a male cat, and you won't believe what Crazy Trini 85 asks next.
You know what would be a huge turn on for me?
What?
He wants to watch her perform a sex act on a cat. He says people do it all the time. They discuss it further on the phone, where he tells her they'll need Cool Whip. The decoy says she'll try it if he's willing to strip off all his clothes and walk into her house naked.
That's him right there. He's pulling in the
Why don't they make everybody do that?
As we told you before, according to law
enforcement, then you wouldn't have to
asking
worry
a
about if
suspect
they
to
had
bring
guns.
or do something specific
You guys are really
demonstrates
fucking up to
intent.
catch a
There's
predator.
like a green thing over the back door.
The decoy keeps talking to him as he walks up the driveway.
I'm gonna find my cat quick, okay? Just strip in there and I'll be out with the cat. Alright?
He's coming around.
Okay, yeah, just like whatever you want. I guess totally naked, because that was the deal, right?
This is a man who apparently sticks to a
the
deal.
deal, right?
He walks in the back door, takes off all his clothes in the laundry room, and goes in search of the decoy.
Where are you?
Why just take a seat? Have a cookie. I made that because they'll go with the Cool Whip. It was kind of a little surprise.
You want to explain yourself? Grab that towel right there, please. Wrap it around yourself, and please sit in that stool. What are you doing?
What are you doing?
Making a mistake.
Making
Just
a mistake.
being dumb, bro. I forgot you're not supposed to fuck kids and cats. Oh, I'm just so stupid. Oh.
You don't know.
I'm just dumb, man.
Now, what do you think would have happened, Mark?
Just being
Had I not been here, and had there actually been a 14-year-old girl in that next room, what would have happened after you walked in there naked?
Something probably would have happened.
Something like what?
Something along sexual lines.
Like you would have had sex with a 14-year-old girl.
I'm not sure if I would have done that, but
I was gonna definitely bang the cat.
yeah, I wouldn't have gone all the way. I wasn't going.
You went all the way when you took your clothes off, just about.
I was just here to
Then
mentor.
I ask him about the plans he talked about online for the cat.
You know what would be a huge turn on for me? What? Watching you blank him, meaning the cat. She says, I don't think I want to blank the cat. Would you for me? You're going to make this 14-year-old girl perform a sex act on a cat. Was that your plan?
It really wasn't.
Well, why did you say it then?
I was just messing around with it. I was
You're just messing around.
I really wasn't just about the cat.
You gave her instructions about using Cool Whip. Very specific instructions. I mean, I can only imagine what would have been going on in this house.
Chris Hansen now. Chris
Had I
Hansen
not
is a
been
mad. He is a mad. Wait, did he say I'm not going to do that? Bullshit, Chris Hansen.
Well, why did you say it then?
I was just messing around with it. I wasn't.
You're just messing
serious.
around.
I really wasn't just about the cat.
You gave her instructions about using Cool Whip.
Wait, on the cat?
Very specific instructions.
Where's
I mean,
that
I
in the
can
show?
only imagine what would have been going on in this house had I not been here. Am I wrong to think that?
No, you're not.
So what's going to be
Yeah,
happening?
okay.
if
I
I'm
thought
not
he said
here?
that
You're
he wasn't
naked,
going to, because
there's a
Chris
14-year-old
Hansen
girl,
definitely
You're
imagined
chasing
that
a
dude
cat
better than the
around.
cat.
You've got Cool Whip.
You got Cool
And you
Whip.
want this girl to do some sex act with the cat, and then you'll
With
have
the
sex with
cat.
her.
You'll have sex with her.
Is that
Chris Hansen?
accurate?
That's not accurate.
Yes.
Then Crazy Trini 85
Oh,
asks
dude.
for some water.
Some water?
Yes, please.
I saw that running around naked got you pretty dried out then, huh?
What the fucking jokes, dude?
Have you ever met any young girls online?
You're here about to commit
First
a sex
time.
crime.
Yeah, this is first
Listen to
time.
my
It will never
jokes.
happen again. I can tell you that.
The nearly naked man starts laughing.
So it's funny.
No, I'm just thinking
funny.
to myself that this would never happen again. This is something, no. It's not right.
So you're promising me right now that you'll never
I'm promising myself that I'm not.
hook up with a 14-year-old girl online, tell her to have sex with a cat, and walk into her house naked?
Not even under 19.
20-year-olds is the minimum age.
I'm promising that to myself, not even to you. Just
of girl
this is not
that I'm going to try to get to have sex
Now he's
with
about
their
to
cats.
find out that he just made that promise on national television.
Well, there's something else you need to know.
Something else you need to know.
I'm Chris Hansen with Dateline NBC.
With Dateline NBC.
We're doing a story
on
adults
on adults
who try to meet teens online. Now, if
but
there's
they don't
anything
ever
else
like
you'd
even
to say
use
about
the
this
angles.
predicament you're
Like
now
they
in,
bring all these
we'd
cameras
love to
out,
hear it.
and then they just use the same fucking
trust me,
hidden
it'll
camera
never happen
angles
again.
they've been using the whole fucking show.
And if there's nothing else you have to say, then you're free to
Static
walk
shot
out that door
from the fucking
where
hidden
you
camera we've
stripped
already
naked
seen.
and walked in.
Why are you bringing out all the
You can
fucking
keep the
extra
doll.
camera dudes? They're not even. Where's that footage?
That's fine.
Once he gets his clothes back on, he walks outside and is arrested by that camouflaged officer.
Police Like, was there just like extra money in the budget? And they're
He's
just
taken
like,
to
all
the
right,
transfer
let's
station
get the
and
ghillie
searched.
suit, Dale. You can do it. You can wear the ghillie suit
Where do
today.
you live at? In Florida. On your own business or what? No, just being stupid. Just being stupid.
Just being stupid, dude. I fucking.
He's photographed and then
so
taken
dumb.
to jail.
God, you
This
can't.
is the person
bang
apparently walked
cats
into the
and
room
kids and
naked.
stuff.
The next day, he's brought before a judge
such
and
a
bail is
ditz.
set.
That does come out to $50,000, and that's all for today.
Thank you, Judge. So what's next for these men? Find out when we come back. Chris Hansen joins us.
Chris Hansen. Chris Hansen. What would happen if I wasn't here?
And Chris Hansen joins us now. Chris, these investigations this month have just drawn a huge response, thousands
They
and thousands of emails. And one question we're consistently hearing is, why are all of these suspected predators men? Not a single woman. Is there a reason for that?
We just haven't seen any women in our investigations. The experts say
We just
that there
haven't
are
seen
women
it.
predators. They just go after kids they know. They're more comfortable with that. Male predators like the anonymity and the other accessibility offered by the internet.
You know, we've heard some other viewers
Offered by the
say that they
internet.
think someone in their community may be a predator, don't know what to do. What can you tell them?
Don't try and do a sting operation by yourself. The FBI office,
By
locally,
yourself.
the police, sheriff's department, they're all very receptive to
Invite
this
some
kind
friends
of crime,
over.
and they'll do something about it.
Like,
Are
hey
there
guys, I
other
think my
options?
fucking
Shorter
neighbor might
jail?
be a
What about
pedo.
treatment for some of these?
You want to
Prison
try
and
to fucking
punishment is critical,
catfish them
Stone,
and
but
get
the
them on
experts
camera?
tell us that there has to be more treatment options out there for when these guys get out of prison, because there's a chance they'll reoffend. And without that, we're really not going to find a solution to this problem.
So,
But until then,
look at
we're just
both-
going to keep on
both
filming, making
potential
money
solutions.
There's no one-size-fits-all solution to this. There has to be punishment and there has to be treatment.
Chris Hansen, thanks.
Thanks.
Chris Hansen. What's this one? This better not already have commentary. I don't know. Biggest pervert.
Tell me you've never done this before?
Never.
So you just woke up this morning and said, I'm going to get involved in an internet conversation with a 14-year-old boy. I'm going to go to his house, strip naked, and walk in with a 12-pack of beer. This was just something you thunk up today.
No, sir.
Just thunk it up.
John Kennelly is a guy
John
who,
Kennelly.
in an online chat with someone he thought was a young teenage boy, said that he
Teenage
was
boy.
a teacher at a prestigious high school in Virginia.
Prestigious high
That is
school.
graphic. At one point, the decoy said something about, what would be really hot, strip down your underwear in the garage and walk in. Kennelly says in the chat, I don't wear underwear. Decoy says something to the effect of, well, come in how you are. And we
Come in the way that God made you.
He was going to do it.
Very,
This is
very
our second
explicit
investigation.
chat.
While we'd seen some surprising things, who's going to walk into a stranger's house naked? Well,
This dude's not even trying to bang a cat. So fuck the fuck off.
This lovely home in Virginia,
This
just
lovely
outside
home
of
in
Washington, D.C.,
Virginia.
has become the secret meeting place for potential internet sex predators. It's rigged with
Chris
9
Hansen,
hidden
don't
cameras,
get yourself
3
killed
with views outside,
trying to
1
fucking
pointed at
catch
the garage,
pedos near
and
Washington,
5
D.C.
inside the house. Several volunteers from Perverted Justice, the group dedicated to catching internet predators, are in chat rooms posing as 12, 13, and 14-year-olds ready to make a date for sex with men
Let's
they
be
meet
real.
online.
Some of the people that work for that,
39-year-old Frag, his screen name, who's been a Perverted Justice volunteer for more than 2 years,
like that dude,
is posing as a 13-year-old girl in a Yahoo chat room set up for Virginia residents. It's a chat room not intended for romantic or sexual conversations.
There's a girl named Kim.
As Dateline cameras roll, the undercover operatives enter chat rooms. They're quickly inundated with adults wanting to talk. Here's a 46-year-old who calls himself the Sphinx 59. He thinks he's talking to a 12-year-old girl named Sarah. It takes him only 4 minutes of chatting online to ask her, "Are you a virgin?" She says she is. And then he asks if she's ever performed oral sex. In this chat, as in many other men's chats, things get much more graphic and disgusting.
As soon as those boundaries are crossed, in a lot of ways, the chat tends to get a lot more explicit very quickly.
This man, VA male 69 2005, who's 28, thinks he's talking to Erin, a 14-year-old. He asks her bra size, if she shaves anything other than her legs, and says there's just something about a teen body.
We'll see if he sends a picture or anything.
In most cases, the men ask for pictures of the young teens, and then send pictures of themselves. Sometimes, after the chat turns sexual, the man turns on his webcam and exposes himself. Several men go as far as sending pornographic pictures, hoping to teach the inexperienced child about different sex acts.
I'm just trying to kind of get all the pictures of semi-uniform.
Here in Virginia, as in many other states, it's generally a crime to send children obscene material, even if it turns out the recipient is an adult posing as a child.
He also sent some naked shots of himself.
After chatting online about having sex, the decoy suggests a phone call.
I don't know, because I'm all blushing.
23-year-old Dell puts on her best young girl voice. She needs to verify that the man on the phone is the same man in the chat room.
In the chat room.
The worst thing about doing verification calls is you have to smile while you're doing them, so it sounds like it in your voice, even if you don't mean it at all.
She can also play the part of a young boy.
Oh, my God.
I bet she can.
Once a predator has made it clear he wants sex with a minor and makes a date for the liaison, the crime has already been committed. He doesn't even have to show up. But
She
will
seems
he?
to really get into the playing the boy role.
The answer is yes. But this man, once he sees me and not a teen, realizes he's made a big mistake and runs for the door.
Hey, who are you? Come on. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hey, you're not going to want to do that, I don't think.
But he's going to get arrested anyway.
Stay long.
I feel like they probably would actually.
Good. Why don't you have a seat right over here?
Why don't you have a seat?
I'd like to ask you some questions.
He makes a beeline out to the garage, barely touches the stairs, and with his arms flailing, runs down the driveway and down the street. Clearly, this man knows he's done something wrong. So does this guy.
I'm sorry, see, this is all myself.
No, I want to talk to you for a minute.
Get back here, Peter. We got to do the interview.
He also makes a run for it, but he didn't come in a car, so he keeps running and running, presumably back to a bus station, trying desperately to hide his face. It may look funny, but what these men had in mind based on their internet chats was anything but. Most of the online conversations were so explicit, we can't even begin to show you.
Yeah, come on in, sit at the counter.
But you did begin to show
I've got
us.
some water and some chips there for you if you want.
Remember the Sphinx 59?
Remember the Sphinx?
He thinks the girl in the house is a 12-year-old virgin, home alone, and willing to perform oral sex. But like many other men you'll meet, he's in for a big surprise.
Kind of oral
when
sex
I
is a
walk
12-year-old
out.
virgin?
Some think I'm the child's father.
Like,
others
fucking
apparently
girls
believe
my
I'm with
age
law
don't even know how to
enforcement.
fucking
One thing's
give a
certain,
good blowjob.
none of them knows our
If you
hidden
want some
cameras
fucking
are recording
12-year-old
their every
to do
move,
it,
and they'll be appearing
that's just
on
stupid.
Dateline.
How's it going?
Sir.
Good. Why don't you have a seat?
Thank you, sir.
Why don't you have a seat?
What you doing here?
What are you doing?
His name is Aladdin. He lied online about his age, saying he was 35. He's really 46. And instead of admitting he came here for a date with a 12-year-old girl, he says he's here to look at real estate.
Yeah, I know that the house is for sale.
Oh, that this house is for sale?
Yes. I heard about it. A friend of mine is.
Aladdin goes on to say that his friend found our house for sale on the internet, and he just came to check it out for him. Later, he decides to come clean.
Why did
Later.
To see what's her name, Sarah.
Sarah.
Yes.
And you were talking with Sarah online.
Online.
So all that other stuff in the house and all that, that was all a big fat lie.
There's something else I need to tell you.
Do you know how old Sarah is?
Chris Hansen.
He tries to convince me that the girl, Sarah,
Not the
is
girl.
18, even
Is
though his
18.
own words tell a different story.
But see, here's the thing.
You
I've
say
seen the
you're
chat
35, male, and you say where you're from. She says she's 12. You say, oh, you're real young. You like older men? Depends, I guess.
And they printed
you
it
asked
out.
her
It's
about
just so
her
back in
former
the day.
boyfriends. Did she ever
I
give
wonder
him
if they
oral
ever
sex?
redid
She
this
said
show,
yes.
if it would just be on
She
an iPad.
tells you here that she's 12
I have
years
your
old.
chat logs right
Where's that
here on the
number right there? What does
iPad.
that
Why don't
say?
you take a look at this iPad here? Is that a
12.
picture they're painting?
So that 18 thing was a lie as well.
It's Chris Hansen.
Then Aladdin apparently begins to feel faint.
What are you doing?
And lies down on the kitchen floor.
Are you okay?
Yes. Just
Do you want your water?
a little bit. No, I'm fine.
Our background research reveals that Aladdin is a waiter at a Holiday Inn. He says he's
I
an
don't think you
immigrant
are
from
fine.
Egypt who became a U.S. citizen 2 years ago.
Why is it appropriate to come
Uh-oh.
to a home where a 12-year-old girl...
He said we can meet together, we can come over to my place, we can spend time together.
But does that make it right for you to do it?
No, I feel guilty or I feel better also.
You'll hear more from Aladdin a little bit later.
A little bit
First,
later.
there are more men headed to our house. Meet VA Male 69 2005.
VA Male
He's the one who
69.
said there's just something about a teen body. He's
About a
28
teen
and thinks he's
body.
talking to a 14-year-old. He's actually chatting with this 23-year-old from Perverted Justice.
He was by far the worst guy I've ever talked to.
Dozens and dozens of
He was
Yes.
by far.
What separated him from the run-of-the-mill computer predator?
Why are we interviewing
Bestiality,
this
one
fucking
word.
He chatted online for more than a week with our
Bestiality.
deacon and slowly introduced more and more depraved sexual requests.
Now we're
he
getting
even
to the
says
good
he
stuff.
wants to involve a dog.
As soon as the guy
A
said,
dog.
hey, maybe I'd want to do this, and he wasn't immediately slapped down. It's testing the waters.
Was this all talk, or would this man actually walk into our
Chris
kitchen?
Hansen.
That's him coming in the door.
Coming in the door.
How you doing? Why don't you have a seat right around that stool?
Why don't you have a
What's
seat?
What are you here for?
Just come to talk to him.
Coming to talk to who?
That's it.
Just coming to mentor, bro.
I just got nervous.
First time.
I was
First
gonna
time
talk to
mentoring.
How old is Aaron?
How old is she?
She didn't tell me.
Well, see, I have
Again?
chat logs.
I saw 14.
So you thought it was okay to come here to see a 14-year-old girl,
No, I didn't.
and you say, would you ever try anal?
being
Ouch, that's
stupid.
like it could hurt. Not if done right. You have to be very gentle with that. Quite a Romeo.
I'm
just farted.
a lonely guy. What can I say?
He's more than just a
Lonely,
lonely
dude.
guy. We did a background check on VA Male, and it turns out his real name is Joe Wunderler, an Army sergeant stationed at Fort Belvoir at the Intelligence and Security Command.
I've never done anything. I'm trying to get help with it.
What are you doing to get help?
Seeing a psychiatrist right now.
Banging
It doesn't look like
fucking
it's working
little
too well
kids.
based upon all
I
that.
just started talking to him.
I just started. with
This
a
gets pretty
therapist.
freaky here. You talk
It's pretty
about
freaky.
sex acts
With a dog. With a dog.
It's one of the reasons why I'm trying to get help, because I've gotten into fetishes that I know aren't right.
I guess you're going to tell me next that this is the very first time you've done
It's the
something
first
like
time.
Actually, it is. I'm serious.
True or not, remember, this guy tried
on
to entice a
Grandma's
young
grave,
teen into
dog.
depraved sex acts. It only takes one encounter to harm a child forever. We set
Oh,
aside
geez,
3
why
days to see how many men
So
would
3
actually
days.
show up at our undercover house. To keep
After
track
that,
of our
Florida
appointments,
was on their
we set up a
own.
bulletin board. It didn't take long to fill up our calendar.
Total today? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 so far.
Some came bearing
10 so
gifts
far.
like beer, condoms, and a pornographic
Condom.
tape. One man brought shoes and dinner, just what the decoy ordered.
Shoes
You may
and
not
dinner.
think that's significant, but Lieutenant Jake Jacoby, who runs a
Because
child
it
services unit
demonstrates
here in
intent.
Virginia, says during undercover stings, it can help get convictions.
At times when they show up,
it
we like to have them either bring us
it
something or do
demonstrates.
something so we can show that they're doing specifically what we asked them to do.
Shows intent.
It helps.
Demonstrates intent.
The men who show up at this house looking for a liaison with a child come from
That
very
dude
different
should
backgrounds.
say, "I
And as our
love
investigation
love."
unfolds, you might be surprised at just how diverse our group gets. Some hold very prominent positions.
Chris
more prominent than you'd ever imagine.
What do you do for a living?
Oh, part 3? Alright, part 3, and then I'm doing something else with my day.
From stalking the chat rooms to knocking on the door, Dateline's hidden cameras have caught a string of men
From stalking to knocking,
showing up for a date with a minor they thought was home alone. But you might be surprised at the men arriving next. Again, we want to remind you that some of what you're about to see is sexually explicit. Here's Chris Hansen.
Chris Hansen?
During
Somebody
our
say my
investigation,
name.
there's a parade of men walking up the driveway, the garage, and into the house. 19 men in 3 days. Jesus. In almost every case, the man engaged in sexually explicit internet conversations with a person posing as a young teen. And as you'll hear later, most of them said they'd never done it before and would never actually have sex with a minor.
Did you bring beer? No, I think we'll stop and get some on the way.
And perhaps more shocking than the number of men is who they are. Our background checks uncover men leading double lives, men you would never suspect involved in this potentially illegal activity. This man letting himself into our house makes his living working with children. He's a special education teacher. Dell is now posing as a boy the man's expecting to meet.
So this dude's definitely...
Where are you? Oh, okay.
Molested some kids, for sure.
Okay.
The teacher, Stephen Benoff, believes he's been chatting online about sex with a boy named Brandon who says he's 13. And how old do you think the teacher is? He's 54 and married. When I confront him, at first he says he thought Brandon was an adult.
Well, he said he was 23. What's the problem?
He was 23.
I have the transcript. That's what the problem is.
I have the transcript.
Brandon said he was 13.
13?
13.
And the teacher knows this because Brandon told him online he was 13.
You talk about oral sex, anal sex, and all the different things that you'd like to do with him.
Why do you think this was okay? What are you doing here? What are you doing here? What are you doing here?
Come see him for what?
Come see him for what?
While online, our 13-year-old decoy asked the teacher to bring condoms. Did he?
Mm-hmm. You did. You have them in your pocket. What does that say about your intent?
Well, I always have them with me, but...
Always,
What is a 54-year-old man doing coming to this home to see a 13-year-old boy?
Obviously made a big mistake.
And he wasn't the only one, not by a long shot. Surprisingly, there were many men with impressive resumes, men you would consider trustworthy. You'll never guess what this man, screen name GBABB NSP, does for a living.
Come on in, I just spilled Diet Coke all over my shorts.
He's an emergency room doctor.
Oh, he's banged
Dr.
some
Jeffrey
dead
Beck,
kids.
a 50-year-old, is here to meet a boy he thinks is 14.
I'll be right back down, man. All right.
Watch how he tries to follow our decoy upstairs. When I confront the doctor, he says he had no intention of having sex with the boy.
I just wanted to help him get the Diet Coke. I just wanted to get
who was left home alone.
He was so anxious to have some company when he was left by himself for 4 days, but under circumstances it sounded neglectful.
So you're the Good Samaritan.
Good Samaritan.
That's correct.
During his online chat, the doctor was not as sexually explicit as many of the others who showed up. In fact, after we read to you part of the chat, you'll see he seemed to choose his words carefully.
I'd like very much to be your friend. I don't think I even want to have sex with you until you're old enough for both of us not to get in trouble over it. Lots more to friendship than sex, for sure.
I would not tell. I'd done it before.
Once we know each other well, whatever happens, happens, but I won't meet you for sex.
But he does suggest getting physical. After talking about covering the teen with hugs and kisses, the 50-year-old says to the decoy who he thinks is 14, I want to cuddle you and make you feel safe and loved and cared about.
Experts in this field say that kind of a discussion is consistent with
maybe I should pose as
who's grooming a young
14-year-old boy and get some old pedos to cuddle with me.
Mm-hmm.
What's really going on here?
What's really going on was I came over to take him out for lunch.
You ask, have you ever been spanked?
Coming over for lunch.
He says, by my dad, but not for sex.
Mm-hmm.
You say, could it be fun for sex? He says, I can try. You say, want to spank a dad. Now, you see how that looks.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
The doctor maintains he would never do anything illegal, but acknowledges a meeting like this could appear inappropriate.
Now, if you had a teenage son who was home alone, would you be comfortable with a 50-some-year-old man coming into the house for a visit?
I suppose it would depend on the 50-year-old man, but in general, no. I wouldn't.
What about this guy? A man in his position is just about the last person you'd expect to be showing up at our house. It's 4 o'clock in the morning in an AOL chat room. This 54-year-old man, screen named Red BD, messages a 13-year-old boy named Conrad, saying, I'm howling for young men. He goes on to say, and the pictures he sends are so graphic,
I'm preying on some
carefully
boys.
edit them before putting them on television. And as you'll hear when we read from his chat log, it's clear Red BD knows what he's doing is wrong.
You're only 13?
Yeah.
That's rape.
Dude, I tell you that before.
Yes, I remember.
Oh, okay.
Just you're so young. I've never been with a young man like you, but I would like to.
While the two are chatting online, we conduct a background check and are absolutely shocked by what this man does for a living.
Okay,
and
man,
now
we need
he's
you
in
to
our
come in
kitchen
for a couple
after
hours
making
and
a date for
read some
sex
fucking
with a
pedophiles'
boy
chat
he
logs
thinks
off.
is 13.
And like, do they make him read like the whole chat log? Probably. Get your fucking hours worth.
I gotta ask, you still gonna be up for tonight?
We'll see.
Does that
So how can I help you?
motherfucker have a cell phone holster?
Not something good. This isn't.
I mean, yeah, fuck him for being like a
Not
pedo
good.
and stuff, but
That's kind of an
cell phone
understatement.
holsters are kind of dope.
What do you do for a living?
What do you do for a living?
That's right, a rabbi. The man
A
who
rabbi.
sent naked pictures of himself is a man
You
of
thought
God.
only the Catholics
He's a
could
staff
molest
member at a
boys? You
Jewish
were
youth
wrong.
educational organization.
Oh,
Now,
definitely
presumably,
molested some of those boys.
you counsel families and children in your position as a rabbi.
Definitely.
What are you doing as a man of God, as a rabbi,
Man of
in this
God.
house?
I was just
trying
here
to
to
make a
counsel the
13-year-old
boy.
Instead of answering, the rabbi asks to know who I am. But before I tell
God,
him,
that must
I
have
want to ask him
fucking
about those
pissed Chris
pictures he
Hansen
sent.
off.
You sent
He's like,
pornographic pictures.
Chris
Federal offense right
Hansen.
there.
With Dateline, let me see.
You know I'm in trouble, and I know I'm in trouble. I am not interested in getting any further in trouble.
Then we heard that familiar excuse.
This is
First time.
not something that I've done ever.
You've never
Ever.
done this before.
First time. It's
Because I
crazy the
hear that
number
a
of
lot.
first time
You'll hear more from the rabbi later.
pedophiles
Others
that
are on the
just
way.
trying to mentor
Here comes
people
Special Guy 29.
with a pocket full of condoms.
Earlier online, he told our decoy, who was posing as a 14-year-old boy,
These ones aren't
that
as
he's an
funny.
11th grade English teacher. Then he told the boy that he hates condoms, but he's safe. Our decoy asks Special
that's
Guy
funny.
29 to bring beer and then throws in a request.
Special Guy.
A technique often used by law enforcement to illustrate intent.
To
He
illustrate
types, "Side garage is
intent.
open. Strip to your underwear and come in. I be in mine." The man says, "I don't wear underwear." So the decoy says, "Then come in naked." We never thought he'd really do it, but we were wrong. After casing our house, walking
Why
up and
would
down
you
the
think
street,
that? You got
here
the guy
he
to get
comes with
naked
the
to
beer.
bang the cat?
You can guess what he
Fucking-
does in the garage.
You guys should be trying to do this every fucking time. If I was a producer on the show, I'd be like, yo, we need to like
Could you
take it
explain
to
yourself?
the next.
I'm sorry.
Why don't you go ahead and cover up?
Certainly. I'm sorry.
The man's
It's
name
hard to tell
is
'cause it's so
John
pixelated,
Kennelly.
but
He
it
tells me
really
he's 29
looks
and a
like
bus
Chris
driver.
Hansen's
Then he
trying to check
changes
out
it
this
to a
dude's
teacher.
ding-dong. Like
What
he's
kind of
staring
talent
right at
is
it.
this for a high school teacher?
I was just trying to
I've
mentor.
never done this before.
Never done
So
it
you
before.
just woke up this morning and said, "I'm going to get involved in an internet conversation with a 14."
Good shit. Why do you break it up into 80 million parts?
Hands up! Get out the car! Get on the ground! Get on the ground!
You were chatting online with someone you thought was 13.
I have interest in younger girls. That is a fantasy of mine.
Is this the national news type?
You mean like Dateline NBC?
Dateline NBC.
The cleanest, best pleasure is to have sex with a 13-year-old girl.
Chris
Tonight, they're back.
Hansen.
A string of suspects targeting children.